Hello, everybody. Sophia Parola here with Garden State Film Festival, and I have the pleasure of interviewing two very special people that made Pivot, Paying It Forward, a short documentary that was accepted into Garden State Film Festival. Congratulations, guys.
Oh, thanks so much. Thank you.
So I'd love for you both just to introduce yourselves and the title in this film, and then tell us a little bit about Pivot, Paying It Forward, please.
I'm Robert Hunkley, and I'm the director, editor of the film.
Right. And I'm Tom DiDonato. I am the producer, and the person that came to Rob and said, hey, we have a good idea. Let's cover this and try and send a message out there of hope for a lot of people to keep their chins up during a tough, hard time. And this pandemic is extremely long, and we just want to give people a little inspiration.
Absolutely. And I definitely think that was successful. I had the pleasure of watching it. And I was, usually when you see something that has to do with something that you're living, that is already very real when you walk outside your front door, sometimes we don't want to see a film about it and we just want to escape. But I was so happy I saw this because it doesn't bring you back to something you don't want to see. It's just inspiring. It's uplifting. It's hopeful. And I definitely would love to ask you guys just when did it all start? Because obviously you were filming in the heart of the pandemic and everyone has these masks on. And I would just love to know the process of when this all started, when you started filming, and how it all began and the process was.
Well, for me, I worked on a news program called Chasing News in New Jersey, and the show ended at the end of June. And I had a family friend tell me, you know what, you should try going into documentaries. I think you'll like it a lot better. And so she said to me, do you happen to know a documentarian by any chance? And Rob and I previously worked together for a short period of time. And he always used to talk about his theater and his art projects and whatnot. So I gave him a call. And, he was in the same boat that I was as far as projects. I know he had another one on the plate, but he was able to make time for us to go out and start filming these stories. And initially we started shooting restaurants, and we were going to cover the pivot of restaurants during the pandemic. And a lot of the stories sounded the same. And we did notice a few owners say to us, well, we happen to donate this many meals to these frontline workers here, and we happen to do this volunteer work there. And Rob, like a light bulb hit, look at the goodwill that's going on during the pandemic. And that's where we pivoted and decided to cover more of the goodwill that was taking place during the pandemic, as opposed to businesses just pivoting themselves.
And Robert, as directing this documentary, can you tell me about how that was? I'm not exactly sure how, just interviewing people and going out to different locations. And what is the process of directing this documentary and just going out to find the people, find the stories that you did, talking to them? How is that?
Well, Tom was really instrumental in that. He found the people really that we interviewed, and that's how we found them. You have to ask Tom that, actually, how he found them. And then after we got the people, I was sort of guiding the what we trying to relate, like the kind of interviews we wanted to get, the people who we wanted to show in the movie, who may not have a voice. We wanted to get those kind of voices out. And within those parameters, Tom found these people. I'm not actually sure how he got that either.
Tom, can we ask you, there were so many specific, unique stories, such a diverse group of people, all doing different things. How did you know who you wanted to ask and sharing their story?
Well, it's interesting that you ask. I think in New Jersey, we started out with the restaurants, and like I said before, we heard about these great goodwill stories of donating meals to hospitals and whatnot from David Burke, the celebrity chef. It all really started with David Burke, and a friend of mine and his publicist. She got the ball rolling for us with David Burke. We did that interview. We did some other interviews like Vonda in Newark at Vonda's Kitchen. And I did a previous story on her, and I used to cover Newark for FiOS, and I remembered her personality and how sweet her personality was and how it kind of draws you in. And I said, Rob, we got to go to Newark. We have to do her. So after we interviewed a couple chefs, we went to Newark, we grabbed that. That was like the first day in August. And then we just held on to Vonda's interview. We ended up going to David Burke down at the shore a month later or so, down in Seabright. And from there, the publicist says, you know what? I have an art gallery up in Vermont where they're selling all their paintings like hotcakes. You got to go up there and cover this pivot. And we were starting to change angles. And we decided, we were starting to change angles to philanthropy. And the person who, we saw an article up in Chester, Vermont of a local food bank that started donating meals from restaurants in the area to all these people that were in need. We decided to shoot another story before the Vermont artist. And we ended up also finding a 10-year-old boy who was documenting the pandemic with black and white photos. And we did this interview first, and Rob was scrambling because it's not like news where you could just run and gun. So Rob had all this gear, and we were just trying to go from one shoot to the next in 45 minutes per shoot. And I think he was getting really frustrated with me, but we got this little boy, and there was something about his story that really defined what this film was about. Maybe it can inspire some kids at home right now to go out and make something of this downtime and be productive, and and the boy shot a military send-off, and Rob did such a great job of showing how the send-off took place with music and the dissolves of the photos. And it was just one of the poignant moments in the film that you really have to see. It's just heartwarming. We both saw the film probably, Rob, about 100 times each now, so we don't have to get the same effect that a first-time viewer might see when they watch the film. But it's something that I think might bring a tear to your eye after you watch the film. I'm not sure. I guess we'll find out with the Garden State Film Festival. But so stories just kind of fell into our lap as we were doing this. And then the publicist for David Burke says, oh, by the way, the Garden State Film Festival is coming up. Do you want to submit the film? And this was at the end of November, and we had a couple of weeks to get the film in. And thank you for having the film festival, because it kind of gave us a goal to get this project done, because the project could have grown and grown with all these great stories, but we changed gears, and then we finally started editing everything together, and we made the deadline the night of the deadline for the film festival. So we were relieved and excited. It was like Christmas Eve, I think, right, Rob? We got it in. So it was a great Christmas present for our families just to get the film in time, and we just barely made it.
Wow, that is so interesting how that happened. And I was just going to ask you why Garden State Film Festival, how did you hear about it? And that's just so amazing that I got to be a deadline for you guys, because that's just perfect. I'm so happy that this got accepted and people can see this. We're running low on time, so we only have like 2 more minutes. I would love just to know, you guys, what having this at Garden State means to you, what you're hoping that the audience can get from watching this. I know you mentioned it a little bit, but I would just love to know both of your perspectives about having people from New Jersey, and just anyone, any age, watch this film at Garden State. What are you hoping for?
Well, I'm hoping for hopefully people enjoy it. These are good stories that people should enjoy them, and hopefully take something away with it, and like the title says, pay it forward, and maybe give back a little bit at the end of their day or something.
Thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we're very proud. Both of us grew up in New Jersey, and we hope we represent our state well at the Garden State Film Festival.
I think you guys definitely did. I'm so honored just to be a part of New Jersey, and I didn't know all of these community members that were helping and all this beautiful work that people have done. I think that you opened my eyes, and I could tell that you were going to open a lot of eyes and hearts and humanity of a lot of people watching, and I can't wait for this to show at the Garden State Film Festival. Congratulations to you both.
Thank you. It's been wonderful. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. So you can catch Pivot, Paying It Forward, the short documentary, performing virtually at the Brookdale Performing Arts Center Saturday, the 27th, from the block of 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. So definitely hope you guys will watch it virtually, make something of it. Hopefully everyone will enjoy this film. And congratulations again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you.